Hello there.
Well, hello there, troopers, and welcome back to General Economics Bunker. Thank you so much for joining me here on another fine Wednesday night. I hope that your week has been going great. I hope that you have been an amazing half of the week, and I hope that if not, the weekend's just around the corner. Okay, tomorrow's Thursday, which already sounds like Friday. So, how's everybody doing? I hope you are having a great half of the week. Um, First and foremost, can you guys hear me okay? This is a new mic. I just hooked it up right now, and the presets are a little bit funky. So please let me know, anybody in the chat, if you can hear me. All right. So hopefully you can. And I haven't been talking, uh, for like a minute to nobody. Let's see. I can hear the mic in my headphones, so I'm hoping you guys are hearing me. Let me just double check some of the settings here because, like I said, this is a new mic and it's a different interface as well. So, again, I hope that you can hear me and I hope that it sounds very good. All right. So, um, we got a bit of a show tonight. We got a bit of a show. We've had some news, some conversations, right, that came out to the light, this week about what could have been, right, for Star Wars, and um, and some other news, right, that we are definitely gonna talk about. Um, but yeah, again, if anybody can just let me know if you guys can hear me, because this is a new mic and it's not going through my normal amplifier, so I'm not sure if you can hear me at all. And if you can, let me know if it sounds any better. Is it too loud, too low? All right. So we already got some people here in the chat, and I appreciate you as always, Bunker Bunch. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's see. We got so that's my son, who should be asleep now, by the way. So get to sleep, buddy. We got a big day tomorrow. We got Ultra in the house. What's up, man? We got Marta saying hi. Thank you, thank you. Ultra says this past Sunday went to Target and it was a bust and a letdown as they had nothing good in terms of wrestling, Marvel Legends, G.I. Joe, Transformers, or Star Wars. Yeah, Target has been pretty bad. Hello there, mi general, says Sexy Flexi in the house. Appreciate you joining, brother. Thank you, thank you. Ultra says, in that Target I went to didn't have Hammond Collection Spinosaurus either, not even in the back room, and I drive to 22 miles to another Target. Man, that's far, dude. That's not cool. So you only got the one Target near you? Um, Flex saying, "Hey Zilla, sound is good." Says Flex. Awesome and awesome. Um, yeah. So I got this new mic. I'm trying it out. Literally for the first time right now. Trial by fire, right? I figured why not. So it's kind of like an all-in-one solution. So this thing has its own like built-in like presets and like monitor and stuff. It's all in the mic itself or in the mic packaging. So I was wondering, right, how good this would be, um because this would technically combine two devices for me. But again, let me know if there's any improvement over the previous one. and we might have to do a little bit of a sound test, later on. But at least it's working. Now on the feedback, I can hear a lot more. I think on this mic, the voice sounds crispier. But again, I don't know if that's translating good enough, here on Streamyard. I hope so. We got Luis saying hi. How you doing, man? Ultra says, thankfully, same day after a failed hunt at Target, went to Ross, and my God, they had a lot of good stuff. As I got GI Joe classified Marine snipers and got two of the Halo jumper. Nice, dude. Good job, yeah, man. Ross has been killing it like nobody's business, man. Nobody's coming even close to Ross right now. I went earlier today, and it was a bust. I didn't really find anything good. But I think it's the first time in like 2 weeks that I've gone and not found something, which was bound to happen. It's also the middle of the week, right? So I guess the restocks maybe haven't happened yet. Um, but we will keep hunting. RossCon 2025 is in full force. What up, cuz? Says Pop the Bounty Collector. What's going on, Ricky? Appreciate you joining, man. Good to see you, brother. I had a ton of AW. Nice. And Transformers Legacy. And Ultra saying hi to Flex as well. So, yeah, guys. Again, thank you for joining me, as always, here on Wednesday night. And I hope that everything is going great for y'all. Um, I do, let's see, how should we do this? I do have a couple of like housekeeping items that I like to cover here. Um, in case you missed, some of the announcements earlier this week. So I want to talk about we have the biggest show really here in town in San Antonio. It's coming up this weekend, starting on Friday, so 2 days from today, and that is SpaceCon. So SpaceCon is back for its second year, and they are back with a bang. Like they are out in force. Okay, if you haven't checked out their guest list, I highly recommend that you do. It's gonna be a crazy, crazy lineup, and some of the guests, that we haven't seen in a while in other shows. So again, if you haven't, let me share here quickly, just so you guys get an idea of who's gonna be here this weekend. So just with that first row, you can see it's uh it's gonna be a great show. So we got Elizabeth Olsen, Jeremy Renner, Brie Larson from Marvel. We got David Duchovny, man, that's crazy. Paul Bettany, of course. We got Ian McDermott. So the Senate himself will be here. Uh, Clark Gregg will be here. Carrie Ann Moss will be here. Master Indara. Billy D. Williams, man. You definitely don't see him that often. And to see him here, in our hometown, that's pretty cool. Jamie Bamber from Battlestar Galactica. Chloe Bennett. Wilson Bethel from, Bullseye from Daredevil. Natasha Lou Bordizzo. We got Sabine coming in. We got James Callis also from Battlestar. Giancarlo Esposito from Everything. We got Gil Gerard as well, man. Aaron Gray, Grant Gustin, Michael Ironside, Daniel Logan, Edward James Olmos. I mean, just look at this, guys. We got everybody coming in this weekend. So there's guests for pretty much any fandom that has to deal with space. We got Star Wars, we got Star Trek, we got Starship Troopers, we got Battlestar Galactica. I mean, seriously, we got quite a bit. We got our good friend Matthew Wood. He was just announced yesterday due to a change in schedule. He's going to be able to make it, so he will be here Saturday and Sunday. So very much looking forward to that. But again, we are going to be having quite a bit of guests. So what I wanted to share with you guys, just in case you didn't see, the announcement, is that I will be hosting Daniel Logan panel on Friday. That's right. Um, I will be um, I will be the panel moderator for Daniel Logan. on Friday at SpaceCon. I'm looking forward to it. So, funny story. I've actually been his moderator before. This was 2 years ago. Um, this was 2 years ago in Corpus Christi here in Texas. We were guests at a convention. I got to moderate that panel. However, that was back when the Actors Guild was on strike. So it was weird times, man. It was weird times because we couldn't really talk um, any of his actual work. So we couldn't really talk about Star Wars, obviously, which is what I want to talk about, and we couldn't um, we couldn't film. We couldn't film the panel. So it was such a weird, um, exercise, right? In panel hosting, when you gotta moderate a panel, you know what you want to ask, you know what the audience wants to ask, and you can't come anywhere near the subject. It was weird. It was weird. It was interesting. Um, it was an experience, right? But now, he's gonna be here in town this weekend. He will be here Friday and Saturday, just in case you guys are thinking about, talking to him or getting a photo op. Which, by the way, I forgot to mention this. He is part of the fan appreciation special. So his autograph and his pictures, his autograph is $35, guys, and his picture is also $35. And this is part of the deal that the convention worked out with him. So they're doing this again as a fan appreciation special. So that's why they're so discounted. So just in case you guys are here for the show, I would say, I mean, for $35, come on, you get to talk to Boba Fett, right? So just consider that. But so yeah, so we will be up there hosting the panel for Daniel Logan on Friday. So again, just a reminder, we do have quite a bit of guests. In case you guys are interested, in case you guys are in town, or if you have friends or family, right, that might be into this stuff, make sure that they check it out. It will be at the Freeman Coliseum, and it's gonna be this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, October 24th to the 25th. But the other one that I wanted to, again, doing a little bit of housekeeping here, is this panel. So I will be moderating the Battlestar Galactica panel on Friday. Dude, yeah, this one is crazy. All right. I'm super happy about this one. I absolutely love this show. I could talk about, I, I could probably make a small channel dedicated to Battlestar Galactica. I've always been into it, ever since I saw the reboot series, and I've been into it ever since. Every like 2 years, I go back and watch the show all over again. It's absolutely one of my favorite, shows ever, and let alone a sci-fi show. And I think it still holds up amazing. And to be able to talk, to the main cast, um, yeah, it's kind of crazy. All right, it is kind of crazy. Again, I don't talk about Battlestar Galactica that much here in the channel, because obviously, it's not Star Wars. But again, for me personally, I'm a huge fan of Battlestar Galactica, this iteration in particular. So I am very, very much looking forward to this. I'm a little nervous, if I'm being honest with y'all. I mean, first of all, it's Edward James Olmos. I mean, the man is a freaking legend, right? He's a living legend. And let alone the rest of the cast. For those of you who have not seen the show, I highly encourage you to do so. The show is 20 years old by now, but it still holds up very good. Yes, some of the visuals might not, but to be honest with you, even those, like even the special effects, even the visual effects, they still look good, on this day and age. So, yeah, again, if you are in the market for an actually good, well written show that just happens to be, sci-fi, again, I highly recommend that you check out Battlestar Galactica, the 2003 version. So yes, so I'm super super excited about this one. Like I said, I'm a little bit nervous, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. So we're gonna have basically all of the guests up there, minus Mary McDonald, who sadly had to cancel. So that's a bit of a bummer because again, she is a legend in on it herself. But still, we are gonna be up there with the main cast. People that I've watched, like I said, for years. Also, in case you don't know, uh, this was one of the shows that catapulted Katie Sackhoff into sci-fi. She was so young when she did this show, and I knew her from this show way before I knew her from Star Wars, of course. Dave Filoni knew her from this show too. So again, if you're ever in the market for a really really good sci-fi show, I cannot recommend Battlestar Galactica enough. So just make a note of that. And yeah, guys. So like I said, I just wanted to share the news. I am super excited. Um, I'm pretty happy, that I'll get to do this. Both will be on Friday, so if you are attending the show, make sure that you check it out. Both of them, Daniel Logan will be at 1:15 p.m. and Battlestar Galactica will be at 3:30 p.m. On the Galaxy stage. So make sure that you stop by, and you say hi, and check out uh, the panels. There's gonna be plenty of panels, guys. Trust me. It's not just these two. Just these are just the ones that I'm hosting. There's panels like every day, pretty much all throughout the day, with all the various guests. So there's gonna be a Flash panel. There's gonna be a Hawkeye panel. There's gonna be a Star Trek panel. Um, Billy D. Williams will go up on stage, and so he's very fun to uh, to watch, right? So again, if you are in town or if you're near San Antonio, I highly, highly recommend that you check out SpaceCon this weekend. Again, October 24th through the 26th. What is this? So yeah, like I said, just a little bit of housekeeping and keeping up with some housekeeping as well. I want to say thank you to Big Texas Comic Con for allowing me to cover the event this year as well. This is my third year, which sounds crazy. This is my third year covering the event, and it's a great show. They had a lot of great, great guests, and it grew a lot. And if you're curious about that show, I do have a walkthrough video on my channel, uh, Big Texas Comic Con walkthrough. So check that one out. Check out some of the posts that I did, for when I was there. They had an awesome Jurassic Park section with a full size T Rex animatronic. It was beautiful. But one of the guests was also a prop maker who brought the whole sort of set from the never ending story. They had Falcor, they had the Rock Eater, they had a bunch of stuff, and it was legit like one of my favorite parts of the show. The kid loved that because just this summer we read the book and we watched the movie, so it was very fresh in his mind. So we got to take a picture with Falcor. It's very fun, but man, it went into a lot of work, and they looked like right out of the movie. So again, check that out. It's all on the video on the Big Tex Comic Con walkthrough. So let me jump back here into the channel. Ultra says, "Holy ish, gonna be hosting for Daniel Logan." Yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm excited. Like I said, I got to meet him a couple of years ago, and it was just a weird time, with the strike going on and everything. So I'm hoping, of course, this time around, it'll be a lot easier. We're gonna get to talk about Star Wars, which is already better, right? So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that one. Ultra says Grace Park very underrated, and she deserves more love and recognition. Dude, whoa, um, you're not kidding. So of course, I've been preparing for the panel, and I've been, rewatching some of the stuff. Not everything, because it's what, 4 seasons, 5 seasons. I forget right now. So I just don't have time to rewatch everything. Um, but I had forgotten that she has some pretty heavy scenes in that show, man. Um, yeah, there's a lot. Well, I mean, the show itself is pretty heavy, but her specifically, she's got quite a bit of range, and she was so young too back then. Again, this is 20 years ago. And she did a great job. She portrays several characters, um, and and they are very similar, and yet they have to be very different at the same time, so that the audience knows, who we're dealing with. And I think she knocked it out of the park. So I'm excited to talk to her about that. By the way, that is definitely one of the questions I want to ask her. How you know how difficult was it to keep those characters at bay from each other, right? Like, how do you not mix them? Because again, they're very similar. They're in different situations, and of course, they are uh, differences between them. But at the same time, she the amount of hours that she was filming, it was kind of gruesome too. So yeah, but I agree, Ultra, very much. Grace Park deserves a lot more recognition. What else? Okay, so yeah, once again, guys, if you're here in town and if you are looking for something to do, over the weekend, come check out SpaceCon. It's going to be a great show, especially um, if you collect autographs or if you are into photo ops. This is an amazing, amazing um, place to get a bunch of great actors. So yeah, again, consider if you're near or if you are uh, here in town, just consider stopping by. It's going to be a great show. Okay, so um, one of the one of the bigger stories that we've gotten in a little bit, actually, uh, has to do with a couple of days ago, Adam Driver, right, who played Kylo Ren in the sequel trilogy. He kind of dropped a little bit of a bomb, right, for the fandom. Basically, he was asked if he would ever consider, doing Star Wars again, and he said, "Yeah, absolutely, I would. It's been one of the coolest projects I've been a part of. I wanna, go back to it." And as a matter of fact, we did have a script for another movie um, that he and Steven Soderbergh, worked on, and that was centered around him, around his character. And the title, or the working title at least, was "The Hunt for Ben Solo." Uh, here's the problem, though. According to him, at least, the film would have taken place after the event of Rise of Skywalker. Now, spoilers, if you guys haven't seen Rise of Skywalker, it's been 6 years, so you probably don't want to see it. So the spoilers is that his character, right, actually dies after sharing his life force with Rey. Ben Solo, right? Because he's kind of not Kylo Ren by that point. He kind of redeemed himself back into the light. Um, yeah, he dies, right? So going back to the project, what he was saying, um, here I'll actually show you the actual um, quote from him. So it says, "I always was interested in doing another Star Wars. I had been talking about doing another one since 2021. Kathleen Kennedy had reached out. I always said, with a great director and a great story, I'd be there in a second. I love that character and love playing him." So he described the film as handmade and character driven. He compares it to The Empire Strikes Back. Um, and he said that the film is the standard of what a Star Wars movie should be, right? Of course, he's going to say it was good. But here we go. So Soderbergh and Driver, pitched the hunt for Ben Solo to Kathleen Kennedy, Dave Filoni, and Carrie Beck at Lucasfilm, who loved the idea. However, when they took the script to actually Disney, they shut it down. So we presented the script to Lucasfilm. They loved the idea. They totally understood our angle and why we were doing it. We took it to Bob Iger and Alan Bergman, and they said no. They didn't see how Ben Solo was alive, and that was that. Um, I really enjoyed making the movie in my head. I'm just sorry the fans won't get to see it. He called it was one of the coolest scripts I have ever been a part of. So, okay, let's uh, let's think about this. So, at at face value, I can see why the executives would have a problem, because this is after, right, Rise of Skywalker. And I think I kind of have a problem with that too. Because while there are probably a handful of ways for Ben Solo to come back, right, from the dead, I don't think any of them would have been satisfying for the fans. I just don't think we would have gotten past that. And here's the thing, in the last couple of days, everybody on my feed has been like, "Oh, we were robbed. Oh man, this, how could Disney do this? Man, why would they cancel such a great idea? They need to bring this back. They need to make this movie, etc., etc., etc." Guys, come on. Let's not let's not overreact here. Nobody was asking for this movie, okay? First of all, nobody was asking for the movie. And again, if in my mind, if he just would have said, you know, this is before episode 7, I'm kind of in. Why? Because this would have shown us visually what the fall of Ben Solo would have been like, right? If they would have covered him exiting the Jedi Academy, being hunted down, right, by Luke and a couple other Jedi. I would want to see that. I think that sounds pretty fun. That to me makes a lot more sense with the title too, The Hunt for Ben Solo. I was like, okay, well, why are they hunting him after they defeated Palpatine? That doesn't make too much sense. Um, so again, if he would have said this is before the sequel trilogy, I would be like, dude, I want to see that. Disclaimer: I know there are books and there are comic books that cover this period, all right? But let's be honest, not many people are aware of it. Not many people know the full story. I don't know the full story. I didn't read all of those comic books, all right? That's why I'm saying, to actually see it taken, in movie form, I think it would have been really, really awesome for the fans. Why? Because it would have opened up the possibilities to a lot of things. We could have seen, you know, um, we could have seen Leia and Han Solo, you know, go through the problems that we know they had. We could have seen Luke. Could have seen Luke wrestle with the consequences of his actions. And we could have seen Ben Solo training in the dark side, right, to become Kylo Ren. So there's a lot of cool stuff that we could have seen. Now, a story post episode 9, that's kind of hard. Again, can they bring him back to life? Yeah, of course. They can do whatever they want, right? Um, are there any ways that make sense within the Star Wars universe? Debatably. I mean, off the top of my head, they could cheap out and do the clone thing again, which I wouldn't like, but they could. There's also the world between worlds, right? That's kind of how Ahsoka is back, right? From Rebels and then her show, etc. Which, by the way, I don't like that we never really addressed that anymore. But she was kind of plucked, from the timeline. So there's some funkiness there that I hope they explore later on. But it's been years, so who knows? Um, you know, Ray could have discovered this weird ritual in the ancient Jedi text to bring somebody back, which in my mind that is completely against what the Jedi are, right? But maybe um maybe remnants of the Sith Empire, right, are left, and they realize that Palpatine was the wrong horse to bet on, and they're like, you know what, we're gonna make this forbidden ritual to bring back Kylo Ren, right? Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. He was the one we should have been betting on. He's the one to lead us. He's the embodiment of the dark side because he's Darth Vader's, grandson, etc., etc., etc. So they bring him back, right? Again, all of this is top of my head, okay? So I'm not saying they make a whole ton of sense, but I'm saying if you want to keep it within the Star Wars universe and mechanics that we kind of know uh, within that universe, they they could, right? But would we be okay with it? I don't think so. I really don't think so. So it's a little bit weird to me that now pretty much every outlet out there, every content creator is screaming bloody murder that we were robbed of this movie. Would I want to see it? Yeah, of course. I'm down for more Star Wars. I'm just saying, like, don't make it seem don't make it seem like this is the one thing we've been wanting since 2019. Because let's be honest, it's not. You know, um, um, I'm glad that Adam Driver was interested in it. I'm glad that he kind of still wants to do stuff. But at the same time, and I've said it here many times, the uh, the Kylo Ren, character is his character development within the sequel trilogy is kind of the best one. And that's not. I'm not saying that it's like really good. I'm just saying that out of the ones we got within the sequel trilogy, that's probably the best one. And I wouldn't want to see it, diminished by. They're like, oh yeah, remember how he died sacrificing himself, um, for no reason, by the way. But yeah, no, he's back. He's good. We're gonna make a movie out of it, or we're gonna make a trilogy out of it. So I don't know. Okay, but as always, you let me know what you think. Um, do you feel we were robbed of this movie? Do you feel that this was the movie to save the franchise, or save the sequel trilogy? Again, let me know. I'm very curious because that's all I've been seeing. Nobody has really been saying otherwise. And I'm like, I don't know, guys. Like, let's not let's not jump on the bandwagon here. Let's be a little bit honest on this one, okay? And again, if he would have said before episode 7, like the fall of Ben Solo, right? I'm kind of here for that. I want to see that. I want to see him being hunted down by the Jedi and recruited by the First Order, right? And being trained in the dark side. That sounds to me a lot more exciting. I don't know what the story would have been, post um, Rise of Skywalker. Like, what can they actually make him do, and what the plot would be, and who the bad guys would be, for him. Would he come back as a bad guy? Was that kind of the thought there? They're like, you know what, we are gonna bring him back, but he is gonna be the big bad again. Because I mean, technically, Ray is still in the picture, right? Um, if it's after Rise of Skywalker, apparently she's putting together a new Jedi Order. So I don't know. I'm not too sure how Ben Solo would fit into that. Let me jump back here into the comments. General Kenobi. Hello there. What is going on, brother? Thank you so much for joining us, man. Oh, look who it is. The man collects. What's up, man? Good to see you. General and the Bunker Bunch. What's up? Not much, man. Dude, I'm so glad to see you out there, hustling. I just saw your news video. As I say that, I think I forgot to comment. I'm sorry, guys. I do that like all the time. I'll be watching or listening to somebody's video, and then I'm like, let me drop a comment, and then I don't, and then I forget for like days, and then yeah. So I don't know. I'm sorry. Maybe I didn't. Uh, I'll stop by, Chris. Dorothy didn't say hi to Ultra Pop, Flex, Luis, and Martha. The man collect says they're affiliated. Ultra saying hi to everybody and says Nerfin says I'm game for a Kylo prequel, not a sequel. Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, if he would have just said this is before episode 7, I think I would have felt more like, okay, yeah, we were robbed of that story. But a sequel, again, there's ways to bring him back. I know that. But do we want him to? Like, I don't think I do. I don't think I want to see that character arc, you know, kind of thrown out. So, as much as I don't like saying this, I kind of understand where the decision to not keep going with this movie comes from. All right. The fact, he said it like they didn't see how he was alive. Again, the technicality of it within the universe, it's doable. It may be even easy to do, but I don't think it plays well to the story. So yeah, I kind of see it. I kind of understand it. I don't know. What do y'all think? Hey, look who it is. It's Chris, the captain of the Nerd Squadron. What is up, Bunker Bunch? Good to see you, brother. Hope you're feeling better. Yeah, we were just talking about the Ben Solo movie that could have been, and how kind of like a lot of people are really, you know, saying they're disappointed that it didn't go through and stuff. But on this one, to be honest with y'all, I'm a little bit on the, and again, I don't like saying this, but I'm a little bit on the executive side. I don't see it. As a sequel, I don't see it. As a prequel, dude, take all the money, make that movie for sure. And you don't even have to bring in, Luke that much, um, or Han and Leia, that much. Like just the right amount to make the story good. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I missed something. Maybe it was. I mean, I've read a couple of articles of what he said, and it didn't strike me as like, dang it, man, how come we didn't get that movie? Because he kept saying it's a sequel, right? And that's what they shut it down because they didn't know how Ben could come back. So yeah, I don't know. Nerd fans say hi to the Nerd Squadron. Nerd Squadron says that if it was a prequel, we were robbed. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, if he would have said like, yeah, it was a prequel showing the descent of Ben Solo into the dark side, I'd be like, dude, I'm all for that. Because what? Because that is going to show us, hopefully, what the heck is up with the actual Knights of Ren. And again, disclaimer one more time. I know that a lot of this has been covered in comic books, right? But not everybody reads those comic books. Actually, I think the minority of the fandom reads those comic books. And again, I'm being honest, I don't read every comic book, okay? So I know a little bit of it, but if they would have put that into a movie, I think that would have been a great, great story. So coming back to it, you could have covered his interaction with the Knights of Ren. You could have covered, being hunted by the Jedi, right, for what he did to the Jedi Academy, being confronted, maybe by Leia and Han. And yes, I know Carrie Fisher is no longer with us, so it would have been difficult to film. Um, but there are ways. And his introduction, to Snoke, and his actual training, right? Like he's training to fully commit to the dark side. All of that sounds pretty interesting to me. Like I would want to see something like that, But again, as a sequel, I don't know what the story could have been, right? Like I said, maybe remnants of the Sith Empire revive him against his will, and he goes AWOL, right? And they're hunting him, and he maybe is trying to find Rey and her new Jedi Order, or maybe Finn and you know and his new um, stormtrooper rejects camp. I don't know. I mean, there's don't get me wrong, like there's stories to be told there, but I I don't fully see it. That's what I'm trying to say. Somehow Ben Solo returned. Yeah, like I said, the return part, I don't even think it's that hard. It's just us accepting it, right? I think that's the hard part. So, I mentioned that the Sith Empire reviving him instead of Palpatine, right? I mentioned the War Between Worlds, which they have done. And I think people forget, but Ahsoka was basically plugged from the timeline, and that's the Ahsoka we get now, right? Like that's the Ahsoka from um, from Rebels and from the Ahsoka live action, the one that was taken out of time. So I don't know. I hope they, like I said, I hope they kind of go back to that. And then there's the very cheap version where he's a clone, right? So I mean they've done it with Palpatine, so they're not above it. But yeah, again, let me know, guys. What do you think about this possible, movie? What could have been um, another sequel, right, to the sequel trilogy? Would that be something that you would be interested in watching? And as I mentioned at the beginning, full disclaimer: I would watch. I watch Star Wars. I like Star Wars. In case you guys didn't know. So if they make another Star Wars movie, guess what? I'm gonna watch it. But it's a stretch saying that, oh, we really really wanted this movie. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. Uh, but something kind of funny happened. Looks like 9 hours ago, and I want to show you guys this in case you haven't seen it. But the official Star Wars uh, YouTube channel share this clip uh, between Rey and Kylo Ren versus Palpatine in Rise of Skywalker. And you can see right here, it says, 9 hours ago. So they uploaded it today. Curiouser and curiouser, don't you think? I don't know, right? I think it's kind of funny. Um, because Adam Driver lets us know that there was a Kylo Ren centric movie developed a couple years back, and then what do we get? We get the fight, right? Like, are they reminding us of what happened, to Kylo Ren? Is that what this little clip is meant to be? So here's what I want to do. I want to play this, because I want to see where it ends. Does it actually cover, the the passing of Ben Solo, or is it just the fight? So I'm gonna skip skip ahead a little bit because I don't want to get copyrighted. I don't think it gets. Nope. Yeah, it's basically just when they pass out, where you know absorbing their life, which is the thing, of course. Interesting, interesting, right? Um, yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's too much of a coincidence in my mind. Why would you post an official clip of a movie that is 6 years old the day after, or technically, I think he said that on Monday. So 2 days after, the leading actor reveals that Disney shut down a sequel movie, right, based on the character. You guys tell me, what do you think? Does this mean anything? Are they just, jumping on the bandwagon of, oh, people are Googling Kylo Ren and what happened to Kylo Ren and why did he fight Palpatine and stuff? And they just, decided to post this. But like I said, it's a little bit curious in my mind. So as of 9 hours ago, this was posted, and right now it's sitting at 33,249 views, maybe 250 by now since I clicked on it. I wonder if do they share anything else? No, not really. I was kind of hoping they would say, something else. But again, I just think it's pretty curious. What do y'all think? Do y'all think they're actually? Do you think that this is kind of a plot to announce another project? Right? Is it just coincidence? Did they just decide, like I said, to feed the algorithm since people are Googling Kylo Ren versus Palpatine type of thing right now? I don't know. Let's see here. Back into the chat. We got LGP in the house. Greeting Masters. What's going on, brother? You going to be at SpaceCon this weekend, man? The Nerd Squadron says, now I'm mad they didn't pitch a prequel. Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, if he had just said, this is before episode 7, I think I would have been on the same boat as everybody on my feed, at least. They're like, oh, we were robbed. I think I would have felt robbed too. What's the view count on that video? 33K. Under a mil. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's been 9 hours, right? But yeah, for sure. Well under 100K. Ultra says, God, I hate that final battle for Rise of. Not only was a rehash, but it was ripping off the final battle of Avengers Endgame. Way better movie. That already is a masterpiece. Avengers Endgame is a masterpiece. And yes, I agree. The Rise of Skywalker was rushed, and I try not to try being the keyword. I try not to hold it against the Rise of Skywalker that much because they were backed into a corner. By that point, there was not much they could do to save the trilogy. I mean, that's just a fact. So JJ did what he could, I guess, and we got what we got. But yeah, like I said, I don't blame Rise of Skywalker that much because I didn't see a way out of the hole that they dug themselves into. Trash movies has nerd affiliated. I didn't think they could make a movie worse than Last Jedi. Somehow Disney returned. Eventually we better build final battle unlike the Ray who didn't want to die. True hero. Tony Stark. Iron Man died. True hero has better conclusion to his story. Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you tell me that Kylo Ren didn't die, that was kind of one of the little bit better things about Rise of Skywalker, just the way they handle his story. And again, I'm not saying it was a great character. I'm just saying within the sequel, within the sequel trilogy, he was kind of the best one. Um, Star Wars drops an official video and it has less than 1 million views. We used to be a proper nation. Yeah, man. By the way, congrats on your panels. Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, I was talking about that at the beginning of the show, doing a little bit of doing a little bit of housekeeping. So, just in case you guys missed it, I'll go here very quickly. This Friday, in 2 days, I will be hosting two panels at SpaceCon 2025 here in San Antonio. This one I'm super excited about, Battlestar Galactica. Uh, Dude, I get to talk to freaking Edward James Olmos. That's that's a little bit nerve wracking, actually. That's what I was gonna say. That's a little bit nerve wracking, but I am super, super excited about doing it. So, if you guys are going to the show, this one is going to happen on the main stage at 3:30 p.m. And I will also be on Friday hosting the panel for Daniel Logan on Friday at 1:15 p.m. So if you're at the show, I'd appreciate it if you guys stop by. The panel so that it's not like super empty and I don't get even more nervous. Um, so yeah, if you guys are at the show, please let me know and stop by and say hi. I will be there at the show Friday, obviously, pretty much all day, and then Saturday, like half of the day because Saturday is actually my son's birthday party, so I gotta come back home for that. And then Sunday, I don't think I'm going to the show because Sunday is my son's actual birthday, and we pretty much got a whole day planned out for him. So I'm super grateful that I was able to accommodate these two panels on Friday. I'm very excited. As I was saying before, I've actually moderated Daniel Logan before 2 years ago, but it was during the Actors Guild strike, so we were not allowed to talk about Star Wars or I mean, or any of his work really, and we were not allowed to film or take pictures. So it was a weird time. Okay, so I'm very much, happy that I got to take another crack at it. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. Talking to him and talking to the cast of Battlestar Galactica, which I gushed over enough. But again, this is definitely one of my absolute favorite shows of all time, let alone a sci-fi show. Um, yeah, it's up there, like top three for sure. StreamYard is not working out for me. Oh, okay. Whoa. All right, I'm back. Which, by the way, guys, can you still hear me? Okay. Again, I'm trying out a new mic for the very first time. Y'all, let me know if you can tell any difference, better, worse, louder. Um, any distortion, anything like that, please let me know. I'll go back and check this stream, after we finish. But just in case, you guys hear anything funky like noise or things like that, just let me know. LGP says no space come for me. Admission too expensive. Ah, come on now. Didn't you buy like 7 hot toys last weekend or 2 weekends ago? I can still hear you. Okay, thank you for letting me know. Ultra appreciate you. And for the most part, I can hear you average. Okay, all right. So maybe no gain, maybe no gain by switching over to this mic, but I'll try it for a couple more days, see how if I can make it sound a little bit better. Um, but yeah, so again, last time, if you are in town and if you're going to SpaceCon, I would greatly appreciate it if you stop by the panel area on Friday. I'll be hosting a couple of panels there, and there will be plenty of panels again, um, pretty much all throughout the weekend. So if you're at the show, again, it's not just Star Wars and Battlestar. It's Star Trek. It's Marvel. Um, it's Starship Troopers, which I'm pretty excited about. So yeah, make sure that you check it out. LGP says, "Congratulations on the panel. Thanks, man. I appreciate it, man." So yeah, now there's been another piece of news that's kind of developing still. So I want to say take all of this with a grain of salt. I am, and I think everybody should at this point. But it has been reported by a couple of our friends, here in the Star Wars YouTube area, that um, some information has come to light regarding kinda who is actually to blame for some failed and canceled Star Wars projects. And it turns out it's not Kathleen Kennedy. It actually turns out that Kathleen Kennedy was defending us in a way. I know, right? Plot twist. So, if we are to believe this insider information, once again, take all of this with a grain of salt. I'm not saying it's true or not. I'm just letting you know what I heard. Is that apparently Bob Iger is behind the cancellation or him saying no to many projects that, at least on paper, they sounded really good. So we just talked about him saying no to the Ben Solo sequel, right? Which, again, I don't like saying this, but I kind of agree. A sequel didn't make too much sense, I think. That's my personal opinion. You can disagree, and that's great. Let's talk about it. With within margin of respect, of course. But apparently, good old Bob Iger shut down the the son of Dathomir arc in Clone Wars. So it seems that Bob Iger didn't want any Clone Wars content in the Disney era of Star Wars. However, Kathleen Kennedy convinced him to do season 7. If you guys remember, we didn't get a proper ending to Clone Wars for many years because the show was actually canceled. I don't know if you guys remember that, but the Clone Wars was canceled, all right, after season 5. Season 6 was bought by Netflix to be because it was pretty much done. So season 6 went to Netflix, and that's where we got to see it. But that wasn't the end of the Clone Wars. That was just what they had done, production up to that point. So it wasn't until years later that under Disney, they gave us season 7, which is a proper conclusion to the Clone Wars show. But it seems that Bob Iger wanted none of it. And it was the great, the amazing, the super popular Kathleen Kennedy who actually convinced him to do one last season to wrap up the show. But she wanted to cover the Son of Dathomir arc, which is the Darth Maul origin, and he didn't greenlight that. So it seems that the original episode count for season 7 of Clone Wars was going to be 16 episodes, and he cut it down to 12. The theory is that those 4 episodes would have maybe covered, the Son of Dathomir story arc, which makes sense, right? I think you would need about 4 episodes to kind of cover it proper. Um, but that's not all. That's just one example. Apparently, Bob Iger is the one to say no to an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie trilogy. Let that sink in. An Obi-Wan Kenobi based movie, first of all, which we didn't get a movie, trilogy. So 3 of them. I feel robbed if that's true. How do we get a trilogy out of Obi-Wan? Very easily. That's not the point. The point is that that so I heard about like 5 projects like that, guys, that again, at least on paper, right, the idea of them sound great. There was a how do you call it, an old Republic movie that he shut down. Maybe that was a trilogy too also. Apparently he is behind the shift from Mandalorian season 4 into Mandalorian movie. And supposedly, and this sound, I know this is sounding too perfect to be true, but supposedly season 4 of Mandalorian was going to cover um, a lot of Boba Fett arc and kind of redeem it to the fans. And Bob Iger said, "No, I don't need a season 4. I need a movie." Now, let me play devil's advocate here because I I agree. Hold on. I agree that Disney needs a win with a Star Wars movie, right? A movie made for theaters. They need to make money on that. They need to get Star Wars back in the theaters. All right. I agree with that concept. I agree with that concept a lot. And I talked about it here a lot. Okay. I want Star Wars back in theaters. Properly, of course. Now, did it have to be The Mandalorian? I don't know. I don't know. But I can see why they would choose Mandalorian. He's the most popular property under Disney. He's an original character developed under Disney. So, of course, they would want to uh, make a safe bet, right, for the next movie. The next movie that by that point we would have gone 7 years without a movie, without a Star Wars movie in theaters, right? Way too long. So that portion of it, that I see, that I halfway understand. Now, some of these other ones, while they sound very cool, like for example, an Old Republic movie, I would absolutely love that. I would, yeah, I would be all over that. But the casuals might not be, you know, and I'm sure that a movie like that would be pretty expensive. Anyway, not the point. The point is that now all of a sudden, people are saying, maybe we were a little bit too hard on Kathleen Kennedy. Maybe she's all right. Maybe we owe her some of the stuff that we've enjoyed the past 10 years. Again, like Clone Wars Season 7, like the Obi-Wan show. For all its faults, at least we got it. At least we got Ewan McGregor back. So, yeah, what do y'all think? And again, for the third time, take everything with a grain of salt. I'm not saying it's true, it's just a rumor. It's some reporting that I've seen from a couple of people, maybe like four people by now. And I figured we will talk about it tonight because if some more evidence pops up, it'd be interesting, right? It'd be interesting to see if the whole fandom turns around and goes, "Sorry, sorry, Kathleen Kennedy, we like you now. Sorry for the last 12 years of hatred. My bad." Do you think we do that? And just to be clear, guys, I've always said it before. Like Kathleen Kennedy, you know, people like to, of course, use her as a lightning rod, but it's not all up to her. I mean, remember, Dave Filoni has to okay everything, right? So why not blame him? He's part of the process. He's actually more part of the process than Kathleen Kennedy is, um, in the sense of the story. I mean, so just keep that in mind. A little bit of perspective. All right. So, Ultra heading out. Appreciate you, man, as always. To For you to join us, man. Thank you, and get some rest. Nerfin says the hole in the plot is the other bomb. Iger was gone for a hot minute. Yep. I bet Kathleen Kennedy leaked the new rumor. Yeah, I wouldn't be that surprised. She's like, you know what? I've had enough. Here we go. I'm gonna release the secret tapes. When we talked about what gets shut down in Star Wars. But yeah, interesting stuff. If it does end up being true. Um, I mean, does it change much? I mean, I hope that it changes. Who we're gonna blame now? Like every time a Star Wars thing does bad, now we're gonna say, "Dang you, Bob Iger." Um, it just doesn't have the same, ring to it, right? Will we publicly apologize to Kathleen Kennedy? Are people, is Star Wars Theory gonna make a special where he publicly apologizes, right, for all the stuff that he's been saying for 12, 13 years? I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do you really think it was all good old Bob? Like Archer mentioned, he wasn't there this full 12 years, right? He was gone for a few years, and he came back a couple years back. So was he pulling the strings from the shadows like Palpatine? Maybe, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting how we got all this information about canceled projects in 2 days, right? We went from Adam Driver letting us know that Bob Iger shut down Ben's solo project to, again, a couple of our YouTube, Star Wars YouTube friends talking about Bob Iger shutting down some of the best Star Wars we could have gotten, and then StarWars.com or Star Wars official channel posting that Kylo Ren, clip. I don't know. Curiouser and curiouser, I think. But again, let me know what do you guys think, and if you are toning it down on the Kathleen Kennedy hate. I never really had much. Like I said, I've said it before. She's just part of the process. She's not the whole thing. And we've gotten some really cool stuff, under her as well. Like Rogue One, like Andor. She championed for Andor quite a bit. So there you go. Okay, so before we take off, I just want to remind you guys to check us out on Facebook, General Kenobi's Bunker, all one word. We are Instagram as well, general.kenobis.bunker. We're also on TikTok at general_Kenobis_bunker, and we are on Threads at general.kenobis.bunker. So if you are at SpaceCon this weekend, make sure to check out my panels on Friday, 1:15 with Daniel Logan, 3:30 the Battlestar Galactica reunion. It's gonna be awesome. If you see me walking around, stop by, say hi, get a sticker from me, and like I said, stop by and get a picture, get some autographs. There's a lot of guests, so make sure that you check them all out. Thank you again to Big Texas Comic Con for letting me hang out there this past weekend as well, and for inviting me. For the third year in a row. Thank you. The show was great, and it grew a lot this year. And once again, check out my walkthrough that's up on the channel right now. Also, check your Ross, guys. RossCon 2025 is in full force. So I still haven't found that lightsaber, still haven't found that helmet. If anybody here has, let me know. But I have found a couple of good things already. So if you want to see those, make sure to check out the channel. I got a couple of toy hunts over the last few days. So make sure that you check those out. And as always, I would greatly appreciate it if you leave us your like on this video to let the mythical YouTube algorithm know that we are doing awesome here on a fine Wednesday night. Okay, that is going to do it. Thank you again. Go check us out on our social media. Check us out over on SpaceCon if you are attending. And I will catch you on the next one. Y'all have a great night.